The Portugal Golden Visa can be an incredible option, but I've seen people lose serious money by getting a few key things wrong. And the thing is, the investment itself isn't where people get burned. It's everything around it. The timing, the fund you pick, the legal structure, the tax planning. Get any one of these things wrong and you're not just delayed, you're out real money. We've processed thousands of Golden Visa applications with 100% approval rate. And in that time, the same 5 mistakes keep showing up. Some of them have cost people 50,000 euros or more. I'm going to talk you through all 5, tell you exactly why each one is so expensive, and show you how to avoid them. Let's get into it. Point 1, choose a fund based on minimum investment alone. This is probably the most common mistake we see. Someone finds out the minimum is 500,000 euros. They go looking for a fund that sits right at that number. They sign up. The problem is 2 funds can both qualify, both take 500,000 and still leave you tens of thousands of euros apart by the end. Why? Fees. Some funds charge significantly higher management fees. Some have a performance carry on top. Others lock your money up for much longer than you'd expect. Over an 8-year hold, the difference between a fund charging 1.5% and one charging 2.5% with a carry, that adds up fast. We're talking tens of thousands of euros. The fix is simple. Compare funds side by side on actual terms, not just the minimum. Look at the fee structure, asset strategy, the track record of the manager, and how long your money is locked up. This is exactly why we built our fund comparison platform, so you can see all of that before you commit. Now, that mistake is expensive, but the next one is worse because most people don't even realize they're making it. Point 2, ignoring the tax implications. This is the one that costs people the most and gets the least attention. Here's the issue. When you get your Golden Visa and eventually become a tax resident in Portugal, depending on how and when that happens and how your income is structured, you may be creating tax exposure you never planned for. Portugal's non-habitual resident regime used to shelter foreign income for 10 years. That's changed significantly. If you don't structure your residence and tax position correctly from the beginning, you could end up exposed to Portuguese tax on worldwide income, capital gains tax, dividends, retirement distributions, all of it. I've seen a US family nearly trigger a 6-figure tax liability because they didn't coordinate their US and Portuguese tax planning before they activated residency. That's more than the Golden Visa investment itself. The fix? Get specialist cross-border tax advice before you apply, not after. Your immigration lawyer and your tax advisor need to be talking to each other from day one. The Golden Visa is an immigration product, but it has real tax consequences. Here's the one that really catches people out though, because it seems like the simplest part of the whole process: getting the timing wrong. People assume this is linear. You invest, you apply, you wait, you get approved. In reality, sequencing matters a lot, and getting it wrong can add 6 to 12 months to your timeline. The most common timing error is making the fund investment before your documents are ready. Portuguese immigration requires a specific set of documents: criminal background checks, proof of funds, a NIF, Portuguese bank account, and several of these expire. If your criminal record check expires because you invested too early and then spent 3 months gathering paperwork, you're starting that piece again. Everything shifts. The other timing trap is fund subscription windows. A lot of Golden Visa funds only accept new investors on specific dates, often quarterly. Miss a window by a week and you're waiting another 3 months. The right approach is to work backwards from the fund's next subscription date and make sure every document is current at the moment of submission. It sounds obvious, but DIY applicants get this wrong constantly. And that brings up the next one. Point 4, trying to do the legal process yourself. I get the instinct. You're already putting in 500,000 euros. Now someone's telling you to spend another 10 to 15,000 on legal fees. It feels like a lot. But the Golden Visa is a legal immigration process governed by Portuguese law. The application goes to IMA and it has to be right. One missing document, one error in how your source of funds is presented, and it gets sent back. That doesn't just delay you, it creates complications that can be expensive to fix. I've seen people use a general practice lawyer rather than a specialist and end up resubmitting multiple times. Each resubmission means additional government fees and months lost. You don't necessarily need the most expensive expensive firm, but you need one that does this process regularly and can show you a real track record. That's the difference. Now, the last one isn't about money directly, but it can cost you something even more valuable. Point 5. Not staying on top of residency requirements. Once you have your golden visa, there are ongoing obligations. You need to spend a minimum of 7 days in Portugal in your first year and 14 days in each following 2-year period. Sounds easy, but people slip up. We've had clients who traveled to Portugal but entered through other Schengen countries and never formally recorded a Portuguese entry. When the renewal came, they couldn't prove compliance. The other trap is leaving your renewal too late. IMA processing times are slow. If you start late, you risk a gap in your legal residency status, and that can affect your path to permanent residency and citizenship. Track your days, keep records, start the renewal process at least 6 months early. Treat the maintenance phase with the same seriousness as the application. So those are the 5. Choosing a fund on price alone, ignoring the tax consequences, getting the timing wrong, going DIY on the legal side, and dropping the ball on residency maintenance. Every one of them is avoidable, and the common thread is the same. People treat the golden visa like a single transaction when it's actually a multi-year process that touches immigration, tax, fund investing, and compliance all at once. If you're seriously considering Portugal's golden visa, don't guess your way through it. Book a call with our team and we'll talk through your situation before you make an expensive mistake. Links in the description. If this was useful, drop a comment and tell me which mistake surprised you the most. I'll see you in the next one.